What secrets are Taylor Swift, Jon Hamm, Phil Lewis, and more hiding? Well, stick around to find out. Some of Taylor Swift's musical inspirations have not been entirely impressed by the singer's not-so-romantic ballads. In 2012, John Mayer told Rolling Stone that he was embarrassed by the song Dear John after her third studio album, Speak Now, because it was kind of presumed to be about him. He said, "It made me feel terrible because I didn't deserve it." Apparently, he was blindsided by the song's release. "I never got an email, I never got a phone call, I was really caught off guard." He said Taylor was too big of an artist to stoop to what he thought was low-level songwriting. Now, in response, Taylor Swift claimed to Glamour that he wasn't the track's inspiration. She's like, "How presumptuous, I never disclose who my songs are about." But he's not alone in his gripes. In an interview on the Ellen DeGeneres show, Taylor revealed that her song Forever and Always was written with Joe Jonas in mind, and apparently Joe had called off the relationship over a brief phone call. Well, Joe took to MySpace to address his split, being like, "For those who expressed concern over the 27-second phone call, I called to discuss feelings with the other person. Those feelings were obviously not well received. I did not end the conversation, someone else did. Phone calls can last only as long as the person on the other end of the line is willing to talk." Well, in the summer of 2012, Taylor Swift made headlines once again for a reported whirlwind romance with Connor Kennedy, son of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Speaking to ABC News in October of that year, Taylor didn't want to comment on the relationship because she doesn't talk about her personal life in that great detail. She said, "I feel like you can share enough of your life in your music to still let people know what you're going through and how you feel, and still with all the connection." Well, the bone of contention wasn't just the 4-year age difference between the then couple, but the fact that the duo was first spotted getting cozy only a week after Kennedy had become legal. So when asked if Taylor kidnapped Kennedy by flying him out to Nashville privately, she was like, "How did I kidnap him? You can't kidnap a grown man. These are serious accusations." Well, apparently, Taylor had been studying the Kennedy family prior to the relationship. Folks had a lot to say when she bought a $4.9 million beach house near the Kennedy estate in Cape Cod, allegedly just to be close to the family. And after the couple broke up, she sold the place. So when Taylor and Connor were dating, she was also accused of crashing a family wedding with him against the bride's wishes. Connor's cousin, Kyle Kennedy, was tying the knot with Liam Kerr, and Mother Victoria was like, "I didn't want Taylor in attendance." She told news outlets that apparently the couple texted her an hour before the wedding and was like, "Hey, can we come?" And she responded with a very clear, "Please do not come," and they arrived anyways. According to Victoria's account of the events, she graciously let Swift know her name, showed her the door afterwards. But Taylor apparently paid her no mind. Victoria said, "It was like talking to a ghost. She looked right past me." Jon Hamm, star of Mad Men, took part in a violent university hazing in 1990 at the University of Texas that led to criminal charges, at least according to court and school records. The incredible actor had not been previously publicly linked to a lawsuit filed by a member of a fraternal social organization who said he was severely harmed, dragged with a hammer, and had his pants lit on fire. In the 1991 lawsuit, the inductees said Hamm participated till the very end. Criminal records show that, well, he was charged with hazing and received probation, and a separate charge of harm was dismissed. That chapter of the fraternity, by the way, was permanently disbanded. A rep for Jon Hamm didn't comment on the incident when it was brought to light in 2015, and the star himself didn't give much of a comment to Esquire in a later interview. In addition to his hit piece comment, he was bristling at the topic, and when he finally addressed it, he downplayed it as sensationalized. He literally said, "I wouldn't say it's accurate. Everything about that is sensationalized. I was accused of these things I don't do. It's so hard to get into it. I don't want to give it any more breath. It was a bummer of a thing that happened. I was essentially acquitted. I wasn't convicted of anything. I was caught up in a big situation, stupid situation, and it's an effing bummer. I moved on from it." So sure, none of the records were sealed. John wasn't famous when the incident happened, and his connection to the case didn't come to light until magazines reported on it. But the internet had opinions about how he talked about it, with one user on Twitter saying, "Jon Hamm addressing his hazing scandal in this profile is a great example of how not to sound sorry about hooking the claw end of a hammer underneath a freshman's you-know-what." Somebody else said, "Men like Jon Hamm were dangerous to be around on a college campus. Because if they thought hazing was okay, you can better believe they thought worse things were no big thing. Good men don't haze people. Men who do were trash." And that was according to Shades of Limelight. Fun fact, folks, there are more connections with mainstream Hollywood and the adult industry than you might think. Some major players such as Sylvester Stallone, Wes Craven and Men in Black director Barry Sonnenfeld cut their teeth in the genre. It was also commonplace for many behind the camera to work interchangeably between the two worlds, sometimes using pseudonyms. So for example, cinematographer Wow Fernandez used names like Harry Flex for his adult film work, but he went under his real name for mainstream movies like Invasion USA, Friday the 13th, Final Chapter. In the early 1930s and then again in the 1940s, Joan Crawford was one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood. But before her star took off, there was a bit of a scandal that almost stopped everything. In 1923, a year before she first appeared on Broadway, Crawford reportedly starred in a movie called The Casting Couch. Now that name should give everything away, but in case you're a little bit lost, it was essentially an adult film. Crawford, trying to make ends meet and get her name out there, apparently starred in many adult movies around that time. Now she repeatedly denied her involvement, but researchers have found that sadly, she was blackmailed at the time because of the movie. Phil Lewis started his film career in the iconic 1988 comedy film Heathers. That movie centers around a slew of, crazy crimes, and that would become all too relevant to Lewis in just a few years. In 1991, at the age of 23, Lewis was arrested after accidentally taking the life of a woman with his car. The amount of fun fluids in his system was over 3 times the legal level, which even his own defense attorney called extraordinarily high. Lewis claimed he was unable to remember anything for nearly 10 hours leading up to the accident, which was deemed possible due to his extreme level of intoxication. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but was reduced to just 1 after he spent much of his sentence working with a prison-based theater troupe that highlighted the consequences of that kind of crime. Now, despite these rough years as a young man, he continued to land guest roles in shows such as Married with Children, Boy Meets World, and then got that lead role on Sweet Life, which we all know him from. Uma Thurman said that Quentin Tarantino both hand necklaced her and spit on her for different shots for different moments in the films Kill Bill and Pulp Fiction, and Tarantino confirmed these allegations but defended the reasoning behind them. Now, Thurman has said that Tarantino also pushed her into doing a dangerous stunt that ended in a serious car accident, and these are all things that I think should be talked about more. Tippi Hedren was Alfred Hitchcock's most iconic leading lady. Under his direction, she went from being a model to a respected actress, but unfortunately he wanted a little more than to just direct her on screen. He was reportedly quite obsessed with her and made a number of unwanted advances, which she rejected. She said, "He stared at me and simply said, as if it was the most natural thing in the world, that from that time on, he expected her to make herself available and accessible to him, however and whenever and wherever he wanted." Now, when Tippi tried to get out of her contract with him, he threatened to ruin her career, and then he followed through on his threat. Because he had her under contract, he was able to keep her on the payroll without actually employing her. He made sure to turn down any film offers that came in from any studios. Looking back, she has a pretty good attitude about the situation, saying he ruined my career but didn't ruin my life. That time when my life was over, and I still admire the man for who he was, but yikes. The Kennedy curse spares no man. Senator Ted Kennedy, younger brother of President John F. Kennedy, was driving over a bridge with politician Mary Jo Kopechne in 1969 when the car leaped over the barrier and sank into the ocean. And while Kennedy was able to swim to safety, Mary Jo didn't make it. Once Kennedy made it back to his hotel, he waited till morning to call the police and report the crash. It is thought that maybe Mary Jo could have survived if help had arrived sooner rather than wait the 9 hours. Why did he do this? Well, he didn't want to get in trouble with the law, so he waited until the morning when he had sobered up. Some folks think that maybe the entire incident was an attempt to take the life of Mary Jo for unknown reasons. So in March of 2012, Kim Kardashian was doused in flour while walking the red carpet at the launch of her perfume, True Reflection, in West Hollywood. Now, prior to the attack, Kim looked really cute. She was wearing these tight black pants, a matching blazer, a bright blue blouse. It was fun. It was that business casual-esque sort of look, but the flour ended up covering her entire upper half and her hair, and like, ugh, getting that out of your hair, it's like paste. So at the time, TMZ reported that Kim and her momager, Kris Jenner, were quickly ushered into a private room following the incident, and then Kim came back out later, laughing off the ordeal, being like, "Oh my gosh, that is probably the craziest, unexpected, weird thing that ever happened to me. Like, I said to my makeup artist that I wanted more powder, and that's a whole lot of translucent powder right there." Meanwhile, the assailant reportedly ran off after throwing the flour, but was intercepted by somebody who worked for Kim and held until the police arrived. She was arrested, but Kim opted not to press charges, with the woman being released shortly afterwards. Now, at the time, everybody thought that the attack was animal rights oriented. Apparently, the woman shouted "fur hog" when she threw the flour. And previously, PETA had called out Kim for her love of fur, but the organization denied that they were involved. And trust me, they love to take credit when they do something like that. So Here's the thing, folks. Kim Kardashian's former media strategist, Shiraz Hassan, alleged that the infamous incident was actually staged to help promote this whole perfume launch. In the documentary, The Kardashians' Billion-Dollar Dynasty, he claimed he told her, okay, this is what's gonna happen, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be safe, but we're going to create a media moment. If we create media gold, guess what's gonna happen? Everybody's going to be talking about your perfume, everybody's going to buy it. Well, that's a weird way of doing it, but I guess no publicity is bad publicity? That's the phrase, right? So long before the most recent Hollywood scandals we can't talk about emerged, there were rumors about the casting couch, a term used to describe stars who are given roles in exchange for favors of a carnal nature. Megan Fox gave an interview to GQ and put the rumors to rest by laying out the cold, hard facts. The actress said that Hollywood legends would invite her to meet, and she would be so excited for the opportunity. Then when she would show up, she would realize that the meeting was just a ruse. She said a lot of the men were able to get away with sleeping with a lot of women in the industry, but she wasn't one of them. She would shut them down immediately, and that kind of explains why her acting career kind of fell to the wayside for a bit. The history of the casting couch is lengthy, with many guilty of its use. An early practitioner was Louis B. Mayer, who co-founded Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios back in 1924. MGM? Mayer, the ground zero of this kind of harm, had the means, motive, opportunity, and that critical piece of the puzzle. The power. If women didn't comply, he'd threaten to ruin their careers or those of their loved ones. Yeah, sound familiar? So according to film critic and historian Carrie Rickey, the perils for women in Hollywood are embedded, like landmines, from an actress's debut to her swan song. This is a place where big moguls wouldn't cast starlets unless they auditioned in bed, which so freaking gross. So everybody calls Elvis Presley the king of rock and roll, but I think that title really belongs to Chuck Berry. The man was a rock pioneer, and with a little help from Marty McFly, he produced some all-time classics like Johnny B. Good, Roll Over Beethoven. Rolling Stone even went so far as to deem him the 5th greatest artist of all time. But and it's a big one. While he's one of America's greatest musicians, there are some who'd say he's also one of America's biggest creeps. I know, it broke my heart, but over the years he has had multiple run-ins with the law. In the 70s he was arrested for income tax evasion. In 1987 he was arrested for harming a woman. In 1990 police raided his home and made off with a lot of substances and weapons. But things get worse if we go way back in time. Well, not way back, but like 1961. He was arrested for transporting a female across state lines for naughty purposes. And sadly, that wasn't the only time he was accused of freaky behavior. In 1990, he was sued by multiple women, all of whom claimed he had videotaped them while using the bathroom. Now, this restroom in question was located in a St. Louis restaurant owned by the rock star, but instead of going to court, he settled. Supposedly, the whole ordeal cost him $1.2 million plus legal fees, and it really goes to show that when you're talking about beloved celebrities, you can never tell. So sometimes all it takes is an illicit substance for an actor or actress to put on their best performance. Tinseltown has been known to allegedly supply many A-list stars with a never-ending flow of their favorite vice. Actor Dennis Quaid revealed he had a casual addiction to No-No Snow before becoming a huge star. When he first moved to LA in 1974, he dabbled with it here and there, but things didn't get out of control until he was booked to appear in mainstream films. He did reveal that No-No Snow was listed in movies' budgets, but it was disguised as petty cash to keep the substance stuff on sets a secret, or an open secret. He claimed this was freely given out on movie sets because it was the norm. It was something everybody was doing. Now, looking back on it, he called his addiction one of the biggest mistakes he ever made. He said being addicted to it caused his entire life to fall apart. Even Jack Nicholson has spoken candidly about his use of substances. In a 1980 interview, he said, it ain't no big thing, and he still loved to, have fun about 4 days a week, which that sounds a little dangerous, a little too much, but what do I know? The Brady Bunch was one of TV's most wholesome shows. When it first hit the air in 1969, it was one of the first TV shows to portray a blended family. Whether you watched the show when it first aired or caught it in reruns, it has been a staple for generations, thanks to its family-friendly storytelling. And sorry to be the one to break it to you, but this show had a dark side too. And the youngest Brady, Cindy, otherwise known as Susan Olsen, spilled some serious scoop. So rumors of behind-the-scenes hookups have always run rampant, and this happens on any show. But Olsen confirmed the actors were all hooking up with each other in one way or another. She said, "We led a sheltered life for part of the year, so if there was anybody to get a crush on or to try to date, it would be our counterparts." Now, look, they weren't real life brothers and sisters, so I guess it's not so bad. According to Olsen, she and Mike Lookenland started having a makeout session in Tiger's doghouse when they were on the show. And yes, the thing that you're feeling right now are the last shreds of your innocence leaving your soul. I know. I'm sorry to break your heart. So Mean Girls was a hit when it released in 2004, and it's gone on to become a cultural phenomenon. This film, starring Lindsay Lohan and Rachel McAdams, gave us The Plastics, it gave us Fetch, Burn Books, Pink Wednesdays. It's inspired a whole culture. It's infiltrated our language. When you compare somebody to Regina George, you know what it means. There's references scattered throughout pop culture to this day. However, despite everything that's been written about the film, there's a dark side of it that's rarely ever been addressed. So Daniel, who played level pal Damien, was a real life victim of bullying, on this set and on other sets. It took many years for him to open up about the experience, only going public in 2007 when he accused actress Bijou Phillips of bullying him. Now, the pair worked together on his first film, ironically named Bully in 2001, and he accused her of body shaming him and making him feel uncomfortable by asking about his sexuality. Now, Phillips later issued a public apology, but denied being homophobic. So powerful figures in Hollywood have continued to enjoy strong careers even after horrible allegations of on-set harm. Let's spin the wheel, Quentin Tarantino. In an interview with the New York Times about a disgraced Hollywood producer, Uma Thurman talked about her experience with Tarantino on Pulp Fiction and many other movies, and she said that he both put his hands around her neck and spit on her for different moments in the films. And he confirmed these allegations, but he defended his reasoning. Uma Thurman also said that Tarantino pushed her into doing a dangerous stunt that ended in a serious car accident. Now, she's forgiven him, because apparently he sent her the footage and called it the biggest regret of his life, but she continues to blame, rightfully so, all the producers for the traumatic event and their alleged efforts to cover it up. Now, in response to these allegations, in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, one producer said, "I deeply regret that Uma suffered the pain she has, both physically and emotionally, for all of these years from the accident that occurred on the set. The safety of the producers who work on the movies I produce is vital to me. I will never let anyone down." And he tried to deny that there was any cover-up, but like, sir? And that's all for today. Celebrities are allowed to have their secrets, but folks like Kim K, Lady Gaga, J.Lo, and more have had some really dark secrets leaked by their staff that we need to talk about. In March of 2012, Kim Kardashian was doused in flour while walking the red carpet at the launch of her perfume. I think it was called True Reflection. She was in West Hollywood. Now, prior to that, she was looking super cute. She was wearing these tight black pants, a matching blazer, a bright blue blouse, like it was a really cute fit. But the flour wound up covering like the entire upper half of her body and her hair, and it looked so gross. So at the time, she and her momager, Chris, they were quickly ushered into a private room. They, cleaned up, whatever, went back out. And Kim was like laughing it off. She said, "That is probably the craziest, unexpected, weird thing that ever happened to me. Like, I said to my makeup artist that I wanted more powder, and that's a whole lot of translucent powder right there. And like, I love laughing it off. Comedy's great." Apparently, the assailant reportedly ran off after throwing the flour, but then was intercepted by somebody who worked for Kim, held until the police arrived. She was arrested, but Kim didn't press charges. So the woman was released. And at the time, it was speculated that the attack was animal rights oriented. The woman allegedly shouted, "Fur hog," when she threw the flour. Sure, previously before that, PETA had called Kim out for her love of fur, but the organization denied that they were involved. And trust me, they're allowed to take credit for things that they do. Also, Kim wasn't wearing fur that day. This is not the Victoria's Secret fashion show, folks. So, Kim Kardashian's former media strategist, Shiraz Hassan, alleged that the infamous incident was actually staged to help promote the perfume. In the documentary The Kardashians' Billion-Dollar Dynasty, he claimed he told her, "Okay, this is what's gonna happen. You're going to be fine, you're going to be safe, but we're going to create a media moment. If we create media gold, guess what's gonna happen? Everyone's going to be talking about your perfume, everyone's going to buy it." Okay, whatever floats your boat. I don't think it's worth being covered in flour for. Lady Gaga was once involved in a bitter lawsuit with a former assistant, Jennifer O'Neill, and declared in court papers she was queen of the universe every day and O'Neill did not want to be her slave. So in the court papers, Lady Gaga apparently complained that O'Neill failed in simple duties, such as laying out her toothbrush and soap so she knew where they were. She insisted that O'Neill lived large off of her dime, wore her clothes, bagged the best bed on her private jet, and left the poor diva to lug her own suitcases. Meanwhile, disgruntled O'Neill sued for over $400,000 in unpaid overtime plus damages and testified that she was required to sleep in Gaga's bed because she didn't sleep alone and was expected to be working and available 24/7 for an annual salary of just $75,000. Such hours and demands might seem absurd to those outside of showbiz circles, but they're kind of par for the course. There's no such thing as overtime or having your own life when you work in showbiz, and thankfully the two settled out of court, but like, what was true here and what was a fib? Hakoop Manoukian began chauffeuring J-Lo and her then husband Mark Anthony around in 2005 before eventually being promoted to Lopez's staff full-time as her personal head of security and transportation in early 2011. Now, by September of that year, he was gone from her staff, after which he filed a lawsuit for breach of contract and wrongful termination, and this was against J-Lo, her company, and her manager, Benny Medina. He claimed his agreement with J-Lo included a $72,000 yearly salary with additional production pay, potentially increasing his compensation to $200,000 yearly. But according to news outlets, he never received that production pay or the overtime. He claimed he dealt with intolerable labor conditions, such as working more than 40 hours a week and being prevented from taking proper meal periods, which forced him to resign. Now, J-Lo filed a countersuit against him, seeking a minimum of $20 million in damages, claiming the former driver was blackmailing her for $2.8 million because he was threatening to expose private information that he heard when chauffeuring her around. The countersuit also alleged that he became hostile and angry when J-Lo rejected his desire to lead and appoint members to organize a security team for a music video production. Now, the countersuit was dismissed in December of 2012, and they wound up settling the original lawsuit for undisclosed terms in February 2013, but this isn't the only former J-Lo staffer we're talking about today. Scott Barnes, an incredible makeup artist. He was credited with creating the signature technique that became J-Lo's glow in the early 2000s. It was like the look of the era. These two worked together from like the year 2000 until just recently. He was her personal makeup artist. He worked on Hustlers with her. He worked on the Super Bowl halftime performance. He worked on everything. The working relationship and friendship was like 2 decades long. But there's been some hiccups, and it doesn't seem like the two are like buddy-buddy anymore. Let me know if I'm wrong though. So he spilled the beans during an interview on the Jeff Probst show. So there was rumors circulating that Barnes and a couple of others leaked plans of J-Lo and Mark Anthony's secret marriage to the press, and nobody was talking to Barnes after that. He said, oh my gosh, nobody would talk to me. Now when the truth came out that he did not leak the news, he didn't even know about the wedding ahead of time, he got a phone call and it was like, hey, there's a big misunderstanding, we have a lot of stuff coming up, I really miss you, let's just get back to work. And great that he was so diplomatic in talking about all of this, considering it was like a whole fallout, but it's very clear he never got a direct apology. Also, at the time when that hiccup happened, it was really fast when the two reconciled, but it looks like they might be on the outs again, so maybe we'll get another tell-all. Mariah Carey's former personal assistant, Leanna Azarian, claimed she was subject to battery and harassment during her approximately 2 years of employment before being wrongfully terminated by the pop diva. I think that was in 2017. Now, that's according to a lawsuit that was filed with the Los Angeles Superior Court on that same day, which was the day that Mariah Carey sued Leanna, accusing her former assistant of secretly filming embarrassing videos, which was in violation of a standard NDA. Oh, and apparently the assistant was trying to extort her out of like $8 million. So according to a copy of the 32-page complaint from Leanna, she said she was hired by Mariah Carey in September 2015 at a salary of $250,000 per year. That eventually increased to almost like $330,000. She claimed the job entailed her to be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to assist Mariah Carey and the manager. According to the lawsuit, Leanna claims the manager subjected her to verbal and physical harm, ridiculing her about body parts, making physical contact, and a lot of things that I can't repeat, but like, look it up. On multiple occasions, Leanna claimed the manager tackled her to the ground and then like did things to her. And apparently, according to the lawsuit, Mariah Carey knew about and was present for a lot of this alleged mistreatment and like allowed it to continue. And when Leanna complained about the conduct in October 2017, she was let go. So obviously she sued for battery, discrimination, harassment, and wrongful termination. According to a lot of news outlets, Mariah Carey's lawsuit accuses Leanna of being a grifter, a peeping Tom, and an extortionist, and claimed Leanna secretly filmed Mariah engaged in personal activities, which, if revealed, would be personally embarrassing and professionally damaging. Well, Leanna displayed the intimate videos allegedly to her friends and coworkers, and she said, hey, if I'm ever fired, I'm gonna sell these for a profit and buy myself a home. Well, girly pop, where are the videos? Because if they're not on the internet, she didn't do it. In an interview for the unauthorized Anna, a biography, Anna Wintour's garden designer, Miranda Brooks, said that Anna Wintour didn't like vegetables and therefore refused to plant a veggie garden at her Long Island home. Now, if we're talking about all of Anna's former staff, being her assistant was apparently exactly like how it was portrayed in The Devil Wears Prada. Love that movie. She has 3 assistants at any given time. Her first, primary assistant. Second one takes care of the home and the dogs, which at one point she had like all golden doodles, which like, so cute. And the third's in charge of running errands and organizing Anna's clothes, which like, I would not want to be in charge of that. One former assistant said they were terrified to ride in the elevator with her because Anna would list off everything they needed to do, even though they weren't like by their desks to write this down. So they're just like, oh, we kind of have to like remember all this. They were also scared to leave their desks to even just go to the bathroom. Anna would typically address all of them using the first assistant's name until she was sure they were actually gonna last.
Well, on a walk back to her vehicle recently, Oprah was ambushed by a paparazzi with various questions about her recent involvement in the US presidential election. For those not aware of the situation, Oprah has been accused of being paid $1 million to appear at an event supporting Kamala Harris's campaign. TMZ obtained the exclusive video of this impromptu Oprah interview. It was quick and clear to viewers that Oprah did not want to engage, giving short answers and telling them multiple times that she wasn't going to answer their questions. The first question was about what Oprah thought of the election results, and her answer was sweet but firm in that she didn't want to discuss the matter. However, you can see her demeanor change when the cameraman presses on anyways, asking if it was true that she was paid to endorse Harris. Oprah spoke very clearly when she said that that wasn't true and that she was paid nothing ever. As the pop continued to ask various questions, Oprah got in her car, and as the door closed, it was clear the impromptu interview was over. But paid endorsement accusations aren't the only ones giving the talk show host grief right now. People eagerly await to see if Oprah will publicly comment on the situation with Diddy and everything that people are accusing her of providing the victims to the freak-offs, to having a connecting secret underground tunnel system within the rapper's home. There are all sorts of outlandish theories out there. The reason Oprah has found her name attached to Diddy in the headlines is because people noticed how comfortable she appeared with the rapper in party snapshots. As mentioned, Sean Diddy Combs is in some serious trouble right now after multiple people have stepped forward accusing him of engaging with them without consent, forcing people to consume things they don't want to, filming compromising situations, and then later using that footage as blackmail for people, and just generally being a really awful person, and definitely not the kind of guy you'd want your name attached to, especially not if you are someone as famous as Oprah, the kind of personality that has established themselves over the years as someone in firm support of the movement and amplifying victims' voices. Now, coming back to bite Oprah are all the pictures of her partying with Sean Diddy Combs at events he's hosted and others hosted by third parties. Here's the thing though, many big Hollywood names have appeared on a Diddy guest list, but not everyone has been a guest at a freak-off, which are the parties that everyone really has a problem with. Diddy was known as the party host in the 2000s. He hosted massive birthday parties, the white attire parties, wild after parties. The bashes were known for being over the top and expensive and extravagant, and everyone wanting to be there. A Diddy birthday invite was once a VHS featuring a dozen celebrities personally inviting the viewer, including Oprah actually. Another invite featured a literal golden ticket. It was a status symbol to be around that much wealth. The main parties were apparently often pretty standard as far as parties go. Allegedly, it was the Diddy after parties that were the freak-offs. Many news sites report that by the time a party descended into a freak-off, the famous faces would have already left. Like anything, there are always rumors online about various celebrities being caught at the events, like Oprah. But people aren't just accusing Oprah of attending freak-offs, but also helping put them on. Some sites even claiming she provided the victims. They claim that one way she would have brought people over is via an underground secret tunnel system connecting Oprah's home to Diddy's. Rumors of a tunnel system below Oprah's home have been around for years, but with all the Diddy drama lately, that rumor's being dug up again. Some TikTok users even claim to have access to and explore abandoned Oprah mansions. The tunnel situation really caught fire when one woman claimed that not only was Oprah a key player, but that she had the address to a tunnel entrance. Adria English filed a lawsuit against Diddy, claiming she worked for Combs at the Hamptons and Miami parties he threw in the mid to late 2000s. In addition to allegedly being forced to consume things, English claims she was also forced to engage in actions she didn't want to do. She claims she was told by Diddy that in exchange for her actions, he would help her and her then boyfriend break into the entertainment world in their respective industries, music and modeling. English alleges that he never kept up his end of the bargain, and now she is suing Diddy and those deemed his co-conspirators for $50 billion. Adria English did have legal representation, but they have since parted ways. One of the lawyers claimed that English was disrespectful and self-destructive, making it impossible to continue representing her. However, the legal team did say that they never lost faith in her case, just in her, to which English allegedly responded with, I am the client, you work for me. How does this tie back to Oprah? A major point of conflict between English and her legal team was that they requested that English not speak to any form of media, and soon after parting ways, English spoke to independent media. And that interview made its way around TikTok gossip pages and conspiracy pages. English made the bombshell claim that there were tunnels under Oprah's home. She also made the bold statement, she sees what's going on because she's a participant. And there appears to be a shortcut in the video, and so it's unclear if her next statement came right after this line or if the video was edited, but the next words Adria English spoke in the video are, I ain't gonna say allegedly, sue me. As of right now, no credible news site has confirmed that or that a tunnel system exists under any of Oprah's properties or that she was involved with or helped Diddy or anyone else with something like this. I do not wish to discredit Adria English, just clarify that the information she has shared hasn't been officially confirmed or fact-checked by a credible news site yet. Oprah has made little to no comment on the Diddy situation, but maybe it'll take a year until she does speak on the issue. That is what happened back in 2013 regarding her 2011-2012 nervous breakdown. In 2013, the talk show host admitted that the rumors circulating from the year before about how she was having a nervous breakdown were 100% true. She shared all this and more in an interview with Access Hollywood. Let's set that scene. Oprah is/was, if not the biggest talk show host back in 2011, so big that she could launch her own network. It was called the Oprah Winfrey Network, or OWN. What was supposed to be the start of a prosperous new chapter didn't really go according to plan. The network apparently struggled when it debuted, it struggled to take off, and it was struggling to stay up, to the point where Oprah started to suffer a nervous breakdown. The wind of this when it was happening, it was in all the headlines, but Oprah kept to herself about it until a year later when she admitted it was all true. The talk show host shared that her breakdown was literally happening in the middle of her struggling network, and I do mean literally. She shared the moment she realized that she was breaking down when she was in the middle of doing voiceovers. She said, I remember closing my eyes in between each page because looking at the page and the words at the same time was too much stimulation for my brain. She also shared that she started noticing other symptoms when she was interviewing Jason Russell in 2012. Their chat was all about his public breakdown, which included him running unclothed in the streets. Oprah never got to that point, let me assure you, but she did say that talking to Russell, hearing about his lived experience, his symptoms, clued her into the fact that she could relate and was experiencing some of them. Oprah explained in the Access Hollywood interview, in the beginning, it was just sort of speeding and a kind of numbness and going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. She also said she told herself, all right, if I don't calm down, I'm gonna be in serious trouble. The talk show host acknowledged that she had worn herself thin and reached a breaking point, a point where she just couldn't handle any more stimulation. Oprah was always one to tell people to push through hard times and hold on to their dreams, and this situation was testing her ability to do just that. While her new network wasn't exactly tanking, it was doing poorly enough that it just wasn't where Oprah wanted it to be, and it could be considered a failure. The media was having a grand old time writing about the network's failure, which only made the wound hurt more. About this, Oprah had said, nobody was more surprised than I was about that. She then went on to talk about how this was the moment she realized that she needed to hunker down because, as she believes, there is no such thing as failure. She said that failure is just God telling you to move in another direction. Slowly but surely, the network started seeing their ratings improve to the point where Oprah stopped believing that she should be worried. The experience let her, in her words, walk that walk and not just talk it about following and sticking with your dreams.
Starting off, we have the changing of last names. A daughter of actors Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt filed paperwork to legally remove Pitt from her name on the day she turned 18. Shiloh Nouvelle Jolie Pitt submitted a petition in Los Angeles County Superior Court on May 27th to change her name to Shiloh Nouvelle Jolie, the Los Angeles Times reported. She's the third eldest of the former couple's 6 children, and this is not the first of the couple's children to drop the Pitt surname. Zahara Marley Jolie did so, at least publicly, in 2022, but hey, I feel like that says a lot. Next up is that their relationship started with infidelity. Now, Brangelina were all the hype in the early 2000s, but Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were actually married for 5 years and everything was great until Brad got a role on the film Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Now, it was rumored in 2004 that he hooked up with his co-star Angelina Jolie. Now, after a nearly 5-year marriage and 7-year relationship, Brad and Jennifer announced their split on January 24th, 2005. But just a few months after the divorce, course, the actress announced that she was carrying Brad's child, and it's now known that Brangelina started way earlier. Now we have Angelina's health issues. On May 14, 2013, Angelina shared that she had a preventative double mastectomy. In a New York Times op-ed piece called My Medical Choice, Angelina shared that in February 2013, she elected to have a double mastectomy after genetic tests revealed that she had BRCA1. She was told that there was an 87% chance that she could develop breast cancer. And the fact that her mother, an actress, died from breast cancer in 2017, so she didn't want to take any chances. Then on March 24, 2015, she revealed that she had her ovaries removed to reduce her risk of cancer. After a blood test revealed possible detections of early cancer, Angelina scheduled a consultation with a surgeon to undergo tumor testing. She explained that although those test results came back negative, it was still possible that she had early stage cancer, and to reduce her risk, she decided to undergo surgery to remove her ovaries and fallopian tubes. Then there's the plane incident. As the FBI report described, Angelina and Brad were traveling with their children in September 2016 on a 2-week trip that ended in Los Angeles International Airport. Now, Brad appeared to take issue with Jolie's parenting, and they retreated to the back of the plane to continue an argument. According to the FBI report, Angelina said he attacked her before punching the ceiling of the plane repeatedly. Now, one child saw the altercation and asked Angelina if she was alright, and according to the report, "No, mommy's not okay," Brad allegedly yelled back. "She's ruining this family, she's crazy." Now, after further physical altercation between them both, Brad spilled wine and beer on furniture and Angelina, who was under a blanket with her children, according to the report. Now, when the plane landed, they did not deplane with him. Angelina said he shouted, "F you all, I'm effing leaving you." In April 2024, new court filings from Angelina accused Brad of mistreatment before the 2016 plane incident. Her legal team claimed in the April 4th filing, while Pitt's history of physical mistreatment of Jolie started well before the family's September 2016 plane trip from France to Los Angeles, this flight marked the first time he turned his physical mistreatment on the children as well. Jolie then immediately left him. Now, her team went on to say in the filing that Angelina did not press charges for the prior mistreatment, as she believed the best course was for Brad to accept responsibility and help the family recover from the post-traumatic stress he caused. Her filing also alleges that Brad refused to seek counseling. Now, Brad's team did not comment on the April 4th filing, though a source close to Pitt told NBC News that this pattern of behavior happens when there is a decision that goes against the other side, and they consistently choose to introduce misleading, inaccurate, and/or irrelevant information as a distraction. Next, let's talk about Pax's statement. Angelina and Brad's son, Pax, has expressed his disdain towards his father. In November last year, Pax's old social media post about his father resurfaced, and it didn't paint a pretty picture of the famous family's dynamic. A then 16-year-old Pax posted from his private account on Father's Day in 2020 about Brad. Now, the message was written over a photo of Brad accepting an Oscar. "Happy Father's Day to this world-class a-hole. You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person," he began. "You have no consideration or empathy towards your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when in your presence," Pax said, referring to Zahara, Shiloh, and twins Vivian and Knox. "You have made the lives of those closest to me a constant hell," he continued. "You may tell yourself and the world whatever you want, but the truth will come to light someday. So happy Father's Day, you effing awful human being." Then there's the custody battle. From December 2016 to January 2017, the pair were in a custody battle. Brad filed for joint custody, and lawyers asked for more therapy sessions for Brad. Now, his lawyers said that he wanted to see his children before the end of the year holidays began, but in December it was reported that Angelina had been granted physical custody of all 6 of the children, with Pitt being allowed to have therapeutic visits with the kids, determined by the family therapist. Now, early in 2017, the soon-to-be exes released a joint statement statement, saying they agreed to keep the divorce proceedings private, as ET reported. The parties and their counsel have signed agreements to preserve the privacy rights of their children and family by keeping all court documents confidential, to make any necessary legal decisions and facilitate the expeditious resolution of any remaining issues, a statement from both actors read. The parents are committed to act as a united front to effectuate recovery and reunification. Then, in May 2021, Brad was given joint custody of the children in a judge's tentative ruling. However, an appeals court ruled in Angelina's favor a couple months later, disqualifying the judge from the case. Moving on to Brad Pitt not paying his child support. Now, during their divorce in August 2018, Angelina accused Brad of not paying any meaningful child support for their 6 children post-split. Now, Brad's team hit back in a filing that he paid over $1.3 million in bills for the benefit of Jolie and the minor children, and loaned Jolie $8 million to buy a home. But her attorney slammed Brad right back in a statement to Us Weekly, citing the incident of September 2016 as the reason Angelina and the children needed to move from the family home. Angelina's rep further elaborated that Brad was charging Jolie interest on a payment plan, and that Angelina will of course honor that loan. A loan is not, however, child support, and to represent it as such is misleading and inaccurate. Now, a rep added that Jolie was requesting Pitt pay 50% of the kids' expenses, noting Angelina has had to shoulder the majority of those without his contribution for the past 2 years. Child support is not optional in California. Typically, a father of means would pay these expenses voluntarily without the need for a request or court order. Then the War of Rosé began. Now, among the holdings the former couple shared, Chateau Miraval Winery was one of the most personal. The pair purchased the property for around 25 million euros in 2008, and it later became a major point in their ongoing battles. A Vanity Fair article in June 2023 revealed that Angelina contacted Brad in January 2021 about her decision to sell her interest in the winery because it was a business focused on alcohol. Even now, impossible to write this without crying, Jolie wrote. Above all, it is a place that we brought the twins home to and where we were married over a plaque in my mother's memory. A place where I thought I would grow old, but it's also the place that marks the beginning of the end of our family. She added, Miraval for me died September 2016, and everything I've seen in the years since has sadly confirmed that. Now, Brad agreed to pay her $54.5 million to buy her out of the Miraval in February, but the transaction wasn't completed as they were having their custody battle issues. Ultimately, Angelina sold her interest to Russian oligarch Yuri Shefler for $67 million, Vanity Fair reported. Now, her legal team filed a motion seeking to release communications they said would prove Brad didn't let Jolie sell her shares of the winery to him unless she agreed to a more onerous and expansive non-disclosure agreement. And finally, we have Brad's sobriety. In a GQ interview, Brad recalled how he hadn't gone a day without having something or the other to take the edge off since college. Looking back on it, the actor realized that he didn't want to face his feelings, so he quit everything except drinking when he got serious about settling down. But when he was going through his divorce from Angelina, the need for avoidance returned, so Brad found himself overly relying on alcohol again. Now, fortunately, he noticed it and got the help he needed to get his life back on track. I had taken things as far as I could take it, so I removed my drinking privileges, he told the New York Times in September 2019. Now, Brad quit drinking and found a support system in Alcoholics Anonymous, a group he attended for a year and a half post his divorce. Speaking to the New York Times, he shared how the group helped him. You had all these men sitting around being open and honest in a way I've never heard. The actor added that the atmosphere was so judgment-free that everyone could express themselves without shame or self-criticism, noting it was actually really freeing to just expose the ugly sides of yourself.
Joining the ranks of Megan Fox, Martha Stewart, and Olivia Culpo in confirming which cosmetic procedures she's had and hasn't done. As for how we know she's telling the truth, well, the Thank You Next singer addressed the rumors while hooked up to Vanity Fair's notorious lie detector test. In the 21-minute long YouTube video, Ariana Grande and her co-star from the upcoming Wicked movie, Cynthia Erivo, took turns asking each other some of the public's most asked about questions, and in doing so, put some rumors to rest. In the video that hit the internet on September 30th, Ariana and Cynthia took turns. They were like, okay, let's see, let's chat about the moon landing. Let's talk about whether or not we're workaholics. And of course, Ariana's alleged cosmetic procedures. And they didn't hold back. So, for starters, Arrivo asked if Grande had ever gotten a nose job, and Ariana was like, no, and then she inquired about a boob job, or, implants, and Ariana was like, no, can you imagine? And then Cynthia was like, okay, did you get a facelift? And Ariana was like, no, not yet, I'm open. And she was grinning while she said it, and the polygraph examiner was like, yeah, she is being truthful. And the operator's nose job verdict, by the way, also, she's telling the truth. And Ariana looked like she could not have been more thrilled by this vindication. She said, this is the best day of my life. Take that, you YouTube people, seemingly addressing the countless internet sleuths who love to speculate about her appearance. Oopsies. But the interrogation didn't stop there. Arrivo then asked if Grande had in fact gotten a fox eye lift, which is one of the most persistent rumors about Ariana Grande's appearance. And she said, no, but I discovered it through people who thought I did, and I said thank you. Okay, what about a chin implant? And Ariana was like, how do they do that? No. And then finally, she did get into what she's had done. She said she's had fillers in various places and Botox, but I stopped like 4 years ago. And that is the extent. And she did also go on to say, but also I am in full support of all people who do these things. Work. Whatever makes women, men, non-gender conforming people feel beautiful should be allowed. Why do we care? Good question, honestly. And the polygraph examiner then confirmed she's telling the truth. Ariana Grande has spoken out against undergoing plastic surgery, specifically a Brazilian butt lift, or more commonly known as a BBL. In an interview with Vanity Fair, she expressed contentment with her physique. She's like, no, that wouldn't work for me. I don't think that's my thing, and like, I'm okay with that, In a September 2023 episode of Vogue Beauty Secrets, that was when Ariana first shared that she had stopped getting cosmetic injectables. She said, full transparency as a beauty person, as I do my lips, which by the way, she did found like a whole beauty company. R.E.M. She mentioned she's had a ton of lip filler over the years and Botox, but she stopped in 2018 because she just felt too much. She felt like she was hiding. And she began tearing up before explaining that for a long time, beauty was about hiding for her. That she mentioned that I, over the years, used makeup as a disguise or as something to hide behind. More hair, more and more, the thicker the eyeliner. And that can be so beautiful at times, and she still does have love for it. She went on to say that she supports those who want to get plastic surgery, but she says that she knew for her, she was just like, oh, she wanted to see her well-earned cry lines and smile lines. She said she hopes her smile lines get deeper and deeper, and she laughs more and more, and she just thinks aging can be such a beautiful thing. She's like, but now, might I get a facelift in 10 years? Might, yeah. But these are just thoughts that I feel like we should be able to discuss if we're sitting here talking about beauty secrets. She said, F it, let's lay it all out there. And Ariana's vulnerability was met with a lot of love on social media. Among those showing support, her Wicked co-star and boyfriend Ethan Slater, who was quick to throw her post a like. Since the romance went public, I think it was like last year before, the couple have used social media to show some subtle support. In fact, Ethan, who temporarily made his Instagram account private in the wake of the new romance news, posted for the first time in quite a few months on September 6th of last year, sharing a carousel of images he captioned, "Spam a lot, not pictured." And Ariana was sure to like SpongeBob SquarePants, the Broadway musical alums, post. News of Ethan and Ariana's romance came just days after the pair had split from their respective spouses. The Grammy winner and Dalton Gomez confirmed their breakup on July 17th, while Ethan filed for divorce from his wife of 4 years, Lily J, with whom he shares a young son the following week. A source at the time told E! News that Ariana and Ethan were both separated for a while before they got together, while a second insider noted that Ariana and Dalton do remain friends. And while we love any and all transparency when it comes to plastic surgery and cosmetic procedures, it's worth noting, by the way, going back to earlier, that polygraphs and lie detector tests have been repeatedly debunked as pseudoscience. And what's more, according to the American Psychological Association, most psychologists agree that there is little evidence that polygraph tests can accurately detect lies. That being said, they sure do make for great content, so while I love seeing these videos out and about, just take it with a grain of salt, because Ariana was a little too excited when the lie detector was like, "You're right," and she's like, "Huh, see?" Speaking of which, earlier this year, Ariana Grande's older brother, Frankie, publicly debuted his post-plastic surgery face, Where the Stars Are, on Broadway. He said, "Took my new nose out to see New York. She loved the whiz." I think this was posted on July 8th on Instagram. The performer shared photos of the Big Apple excursion, where he was accompanied by his mom, Joan Grande, and friends. Frankie managed to look effortlessly chic in a black lace collar top while showing off his voluminous platinum blonde hair. However, his unique nose accessory is what really tied the look together. After sharing a series of glam-filled photos, Frankie wrapped the post up with a makeup-free bedside selfie. Couple hours later, Frankie shared a video via Instagram stories of his new nose without the cast after going to a routine checkup appointment. So today I got the cast off my nose and it just blew up like a balloon, which apparently is supposed to happen, but it freaked me out a teeny bit, but still very excited, the former America's Best Dance crew judge said. So it was really swollen, right? Like the first day after surgery, and then took a whole week to come back down to looking cute like it did yesterday. And I was like, oh my god, this is so cute. I can visualize it, and then they took the cast off today and it went. Frankie concluded the message by revealing that he is restarting the unswelling process and he cannot wait to take the nose tape off for the final reveal. Frankie was transparent about his plastic surgery journey and shared his post-op selfies on Instagram on July 7th. And not only did he have a full nose splint, but the YouTuber's head was still wrapped in an ear guard and his eyes were still very bruised from the procedure. Ariana showered her brother with love in the comment section of the post, writing, "Perfect and always, always." A fan wrote, "I thought it was gonna say, finally Pride Month is over," with laughing emojis, sending healing vibes, and Frankie replied, "Honestly, that too." Now, this isn't the first time that the singer has given his fans the inside scoop about his beauty practices. In fact, he shared his wedding prep before getting married to husband Hailey in May of 2022, saying he definitely started with Botox and filler, he had really significant bags under his eyes due to genetics, and there was nothing he could really do to address them except for filler. And this is what he told news outlets, I think 4 months before he got married. He said it took a long time for him to get rid of the bags under his eyes, but now he doesn't need to get filler at all anymore. It is not something he's ever needed to get touched up, it's just perfect. It's been like this for 8 years, so shout out to Dr. Lancer, who was great. Frankie also recalled the moment he decided to first get Botox. "So I've never really had wrinkles that were etched into my face or deep lines on my forehead. I never got them. So basically I did what some call pre-rejuvenation, but he was doing it before there was a name for it. And there was a lot of fans that were quick to send their love and support. I'm very happy for you. I wish you a good recovery. We love you, Frankie," one person said. Somebody else shouted king. Somebody else was like, "Perfection runs in the family." And it's we love to see it. And Ariana's unwavering support for Frankie isn't new. On National Sibling Day earlier this year, the YouTube personality shared his gratitude for his little sister's role in his life with a selfie of the pair that he posted to his Instagram account. He said, "I wanted to take a moment to thank the best sister in the world for being there for me through thick and thin. From helping me with my sobriety journey to showing up for me at big moments in my life and career, you are the best sister anyone could ask for, and I'm eternally proud of you and all the sunshine you continue to spread in this world." And as Frankie rocks his new look and Ariana lights up film and TV, their unshakable support for each other highlights just how much family matters, especially under the bright lights of fame.
Hailey Bieber and her family have gone through a lot of drama. First off, we have those racial tweets Hailey posted 10 plus years ago that came to the surface recently. In 2019, Hailey Bieber found herself at the center of a scandal when some of her old tweets resurfaced. Bieber was called out for posting some seemingly racist statements, which she has since deleted. In one post from January 2012, Bieber allegedly wrote, "Shut up before I smack you back to your own country." In another tweet posted in November 2013, Bieber reportedly wrote, "To those foreigners who don't celebrate Thanksgiving, so sorry your country didn't have pilgrims to start such a sick holiday." Understandably, Bieber faced a slew of backlash for posting such problematic messages, with one user on X creating a thread to highlight some of the model's most egregious posts. The thread even highlighted Bieber's alleged use of multiple racial slurs, suggesting that her online activities had been highly offensive in the past. Next, let's discuss Hailey allegedly bullying a classmate in school. Having grown up as the daughter of movie star Stephen Baldwin, Hailey Bieber has likely experienced immense privilege throughout her life. As a celebrity herself, Bieber's character has been called into question on several occasions, with one critic suggesting the model was not very nice in middle school. According to a since-deleted video, TikTok user Mona Elizabeth posted, "Think you can hurt me? Hailey Bieber was my middle school bully," she says. Elizabeth started a follow-up video in which she elaborated on her claim. "I was in 5th grade, Elizabeth explained. Hailey was in 6th. She bullied me. Middle school is full of kids who are either the bullies or the bullied. Unfortunately, I was the bullied, and for that year, Hailey was my bully." However, Elizabeth didn't seem to hold a particular grudge against Justin Bieber's wife. Still, it's curious to find find out that she may have had some shady interactions with some of her classmates when she was younger. Hailey's uncle, Alec Baldwin, got in some serious trouble in 2021 on a movie set. On October 21st, 2021, at the Bonanza Creek Ranch in Bonanza City, New Mexico, cinematographer Hailey Hutchins was fatally wounded, and director Joel Souza was also injured on the set of the film Rust. A live round was discharged from a revolver used as a prop by actor Alec Baldwin. The sad and accidental death prompted a discourse on occupational safety in the film industry, the treatment of its employees, and also the use of real guns as props. In 2011, Alec was kicked off an American Airlines flight after he refused to turn off his cell phone when crew members asked him to. The actor shared via X that he had been playing Words with Friends when the incident occurred. Flight attendant on American reamed me out for playing Words with Friends while we sat at the gate not moving. Hashtag no wonder American Air is bankrupt, he wrote on X. But oddly, 30 Rock plays In Flight on American. Hashtag there's always United. Wow. A statement posted to the American Airlines Facebook page read, "The passenger was extremely rude to the crew, calling them inappropriate names and using offensive language." After his removal from the plane, Alec continued his journey on a later American Airlines flight. Now on the 3 o'clock American flight, he says on X, "The flight attendants already look smarter." Wow. In November 2013, TMZ caught Alec, Hailey's uncle, on video using a homophobic slur during an argument with a photographer. "I apologize and I will retire the slur from my vocabulary," he wrote via X. His MSNBC interview show Up Late was cancelled less than 2 weeks later. Only 5 episodes of the show had aired up to that point. Now, back to Hailey. Fans think Hailey was obsessed with Selena Gomez and Justin's past relationship after some old tweets were resurfaced. "I don't care what anybody says, but Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez together is the definition of a teenage dream. Hashtag word," one of her tweets read. Another read, "She is beyond flawless, and he's Bieber. They are the perfect relationship, and I'm forever alone." Fans think it's borderline creepy that Hailey made these tweets and then years later married Justin. In 2023, TikTok blew up after the Kylie Jenner, Selena Gomez, and Hailey Bieber scandal. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me explain. Selena was photographed in a bikini, which indicated she had gained weight, but of course still looked gorgeous. But the press was ripping into her, fat shaming and body shaming her for her recent weight gain. Soon after, Hailey posted a TikTok where she lip synced to "I'm not saying she deserved it, but God's timing is always right." She deleted it shortly after. There was no direct connection between these two events, but Selena's fans accused Hailey of posting it to body shame Selena. Selena recently commented on a video speculating about this whole theory, saying, "I don't let these things get me down. Be nice to everyone." She also commented on several other TikToks shaming Hailey. Selena later posted a story on Instagram showing how she accidentally over-laminated her eyebrows. Kylie Jenner, less than a day later, posted a story of her eyebrows, and then Hailey's soon after. Selena fans assumed Kylie was mocking her. Hailey has never said anything directly to Selena, but this is the closest it's gotten, so it turned the fire up. Selena's fans' current form of activism is to follow Selena on Instagram and unfollow Hailey and Kylie. Because of this, Selena has overtaken Kylie as the most followed woman on Instagram. Hailey has also been accused of being rude at restaurants. In July 2020, a TikTok video was posted by Julia Carolan in which she rated celebrities she served while working at a restaurant in Manhattan. The video has been watched over 3 million times and called out several famous people, including Kylie Jenner, Gigi Hadid, and Hailey Bieber. Next up, we have Miss Bieber, she says in the video. "This is gonna be controversial. I've met her a handful of times, and every time she was never nice," she continued. "I really want to like her, but I have to give her like a 3.5 stars out of 10. Sorry." It seems that Carolan's impression of Justin Bieber's wife was far from flattering. Eventually, the bad review got all the way back to the model herself, who reportedly commented on the TikTok saying, "Just came across this video and wanted to say sorry if I've ever given you bad vibes or a bad bad attitude. She continued, "That's not ever my intention." Hopefully, she's since changed her ways. Now let's talk about Hailey shading Taylor Swift. In 2023, a video of Hailey Bieber hosting an episode of Host the Mic in 2018 started circulating online on TikTok. In the clip, Hailey made a gagging face when Taylor Swift's album Reputation was mentioned. Understandably, Swift fans were not pleased by Bieber's apparent diss of the pop star, and Selena Gomez enthusiasts apparently took the gesture as an affront to them, too. Somewhat surprisingly, Selena decided to respond to the viral clip of Bieber saying, "So sorry, my best friend is and continues to be one of the best in the game." Selena commented on the video, proving she definitely has Taylor's back. But that's not all. The Biebers again hit the headlines in 2023 when another old video recirculated. In this particular clip, Justin impersonates an unforgettable moment involving Taylor, in which the Cruel Summer singer got upset about bananas while on medication following eye surgery. Hailey could be heard laughing in the background of the video, leading fans to believe that the Biebers were ruthlessly mocking Taylor once again. Lastly, let's discuss Hailey allegedly copying Selena Gomez. As well as being embattled in a number of online feuds with Selena, Hailey Bieber has also been accused of copying the Only Murders in the Building star. For instance, Gomez launched her cooking show Selena and Chef on Max in 2020, giving viewers a glimpse inside her own kitchen. In December 2022, Hailey launched her own cooking show on YouTube called What's in My Kitchen, which took fans inside her house. As a result, comparison between the two series were quickly made. Tattoos provide further evidence that Hailey has copied Selena. Both Bieber and Gomez have G tattoos behind their ears, which is certainly a strange coincidence. In 2015, Refinery29 revealed that Gomez's tattoo was a tribute to her little sister Gracie. Meanwhile, Hailey was reportedly one of many celebrities to get a G tattoo behind her ear in tribute to her pastor Chad Veach's daughter Georgia, who lives with a rare brain condition. Whether or not Hailey actually decided to copy Gomez is unclear, though it doesn't seem as if fans will stop believing that Justin Bieber's wife is taking notes from his ex, Selena.